You have been asking me for more news on D.O.R.F for months, and I can finally deliver. So let's skip the usual intro and get right into the latest gameplay and info developers have sent me. These clips showcase all 3 factions which will be playable in D.O.R.F, and we get to see them in both small skirmishes and large battles with explosive ends, and even walls, which are part of the base building aspect of this retro-looking indie RTS project. One thing that keeps astounding the developers of D.O.R.F is just how much attention their game is getting, especially on YouTube, be that in views or comments, and I agree considering how many of you comment about it under my videos and community polls. And to think this project started as just an open RA mod for fun by one developer, crazy, right? It has grown so much and has so many systems now that developers sometimes even have to redo them, like the graphics, to keep everything working together. Right now, they are working on implementing a custom shader that will allow units to properly tilt when moving up slopes, despite being 2D sprites, basically a way to improve immersion. The resource system is vast in D.O.R.F, and because of its complexity and the integrated logistics system, it is still only half done and gives off a lot of bugs developers keep working on. Conclusion? It is going to be one hell of a new game with an old classic look, but it is going to take time, so stick with me as we follow its development. And on the topic of old and classic, in a first for this channel, I present to you a playable version of Red Alert 2 in a web browser. This project is called Chrono Divide, and a link to it is in the description of this video, along with all the other games I will talk about. This is currently in beta, but it can be played on PC, mobile and tablets. It has fully working multiplayer, all original maps, and it is totally mod friendly. So now you can rock some Red Alert, be you in bed, at work, in school or on the beach. Wait, what is that music? What is happening? Oh, I bet it's him again.
Yes, it is I, Paraphilosoph, the full-time YouTuber. Is anyone else getting chills down your spine? I know many of you RTS fans are also fans of the RPG genre, and what RPG game series is more well known than the Elder Scrolls?
Well, you got that right at least.
Stop interrupting me, man! Escape to space or something if you don't like capitalism. So I too am diving once more into the world of Tamriel during the Oblivion crisis, thanks to this video's sponsor Fanatical, which is an online game store that currently has a May Madness sale in which you yourself can get this game at 17% off, and do note they have a good selection of RTS games on sale as well.
Now that is what I want to hear.
Dude, shh! Like for example, Terminator Dark Fate Defiance at 45% off, as well as Distant Worlds Universe and Panzer Corps 2, which are part of the Slytherin Strategy Bundle. Links to all of these are in the description below, and by using my links when buying games on Fanatical's online store, you are directly helping me do YouTube full-time.
Okay, that is enough of you for this video, let me continue.
Oh, fine.
As for totally new games in development, I have been given exclusive access to the development build of Ablight by its indie developers, and I got to play its work-in-progress skirmish mode versus AI. Considering this early stage, there are many elements missing, but the game is very smooth and the core gameplay works without errors, and you can see more gameplay from the skirmish mode using the card on the top right or the link in the description. In addition to several skirmish matches with the 3 factions, Guardians, Plagued and Inquisition, I got to check out a work-in-progress map editor and a unit tester mode. The resource system right now reminds of Blizzard's games, but it will be more like the one in Age of Empires by the time the game is finished. The base building aspect is another part of the game that is very much in the ongoing phase. You start with worker units and need to keep recruiting them to harvest several types of resources and construct buildings. The main HQ building can be upgraded, while there are both basic and advanced buildings for unit recruitment and research of upgrades for them. Do make sure to wishlist Ablight on Steam and help the developers. And one indie RTS in development I hope you already have on your wishlists is Hyperwar, a very modern and unique take on the RTS genre made in the Unreal Engine by a solo developer, and this is his first game if you can believe it. The features and gameplay in this footage, which the developer sent me just a few days ago, are totally new, so expect a full dedicated video on my channel soon, detailing all the additions he has made, while in this one I will talk about just a few of these. Ones that are really easy to showcase are, for example, the waypoint system, in which vehicles drive from a set formation in a new line formation and arrive at their destination to once again form their original formation. If you can remember any game where this was possible, tell me in the comments because I can't. The system I talked about in a previous video on Hyperwar, linked up here and down in the description, where an outpost becomes a new HQ, is now fully working. There is a new building called the Metal Farm with customizable generator slots. A whole research tree is now implemented in the game. The developer is big on customization on almost all aspects of the game, and you can see here how you can change the colors of the lights in your base and also the lighting of the whole game. Now, this next piece of news came out of the blue, or should I say red, considering that the Blood Ravens are back in action, and now in full 4K glory with the upcoming definitive edition for Warhammer 40k Dawn of War. Turns out, Relic Entertainment has been busy bringing this old but still very beloved game onto our modern PCs, and it should be out by the end of this year. The Definitive Edition brings all the content together, meaning 4 classic campaigns, 9 factions and over 200 maps. Everything from Winter Assault, Dark Crusade and Soulstorm will be included with a working multiplayer. Besides adding widescreen support and 4K textures, this version upgrades the game to a 64-bit platform, while staying compatible with all the mods created over the years. This version will include an improved camera, increased draw distances with new backgrounds and optimized UI for widescreen resolutions. In addition to these improvements, we will get improved world lighting, unit reflections, improved shadows, new unit glass and emissive lighting to give the whole game a new shine. Seeing this announcement really made my day, and if I had posted this video just a day earlier, I would have missed the opportunity to share this with you all. As for major updates of already released RTS games, Age of Mythology Retold had a big one, which included starting a year-long community event. You can now complete challenges in the form of different objectives during matches, and you will earn points which will lead to rewards. These are cosmetics, like unlocking a new god portrait for all players who contributed. It is a very interesting way to keep the player base online and keep them playing, so I think more RTS game developers should use this idea. This new system promises 4 rewards each month, but only the first is collected for minimal participation. The rest are achieved by community total contribution. As for new content, 7 AI personalities have been added as a way to adjust AI behavior alongside the traditional difficulty modifier. You can find more info about them in the patch notes, but I think the supporter one will help my 6-year-old son learn to play 2v2 matches. In addition to this, the developers have set up a public update preview program using a forum to give us, the players, a voice in the content update and patching process. I think it is a great idea, but it might suffer from the loudest minority problem, which is what happens almost always in these situations. If you have an example of it happening to other games, feel free to share it in the comments below.
What started as a dispute in the Mid-Rim over trade lanes and taxes eventually exploded into a brutal and unrelenting galactic war.
Now, as for a mod that is bound to excite a lot of people, take a look at Star Wars Strike Groups. This is a total conversion modification for Sins of a Solar Empire Rebellion being made by the talented modding team at Stellar Parallax, who I have mentioned before, as they're the ones making Star Trek Armada 4 mod for Sins of a Solar Empire 2, and I showcased their latest progress on that mod in my previous RTS news video, linked up here and down in the description.
In order to ensure the security and continuing stability, the Republic will be reorganized into the first galactic empire.
As for Star Wars Strike Groups, which developers announced for the third quarter of 2025, it already has a lot of high-quality Star Wars models, which one of the team members made as a hobby even before the mod was in production. The idea for the gameplay is for us as players to be able to pick one of the 4 distinct factions from the Clone Wars or the Galactic Civil War eras. One important note is that developers are not going to constrain themselves with official canon and lore for ship stats and capabilities, but make them balanced for competitive battles. This means tactics, fleet composition, and strike crafts such as fighters and bombers will each play a role in your fleet. Space stations will have high value, and each planet under your control will impact your empire's functionality. A game I have been keeping an eye on for years now and watched it grow in both content and sales figures is Diplomacy is Not an Option. And now not only has it been updated again with additional features, which I will talk about in a minute, it got a standalone and free prequel called Shareware. It is almost like a demo or light version of the main game and has a lot of its features but very little of its content, beyond 2 prequel story missions and the fantastic and fun Endless mode. Here you can learn how the rebellion in the name of the Queen went and how the Ironbrow clan shaped the world's map. These events precede the story told in the campaign of the main game, and yes, developers have finished the campaign in the main game a while back if you haven't played this awesome indie gem in that long. Now in the full game version, Diplomacy is Not an Option offers you an amazing level of customization because the map editor has been added along with Steam Workshop integration, meaning we can design our own maps and share them with other players. This will definitely expand the content of the game and make players install it again for at least one more endless survival run on a new custom and 100% crazy user-made map. In this editor, it is possible to change landscape either by random generation or manually, change horde settings, choose when enemies attack, their numbers, as well as to change mission objectives and available resources. A new feature that has been introduced is making a squad of units travel at the speed of the slowest one by using a combo of keyboard shortcuts. This game has such a massive scale, and if you have played one of its 25,000 unit battles, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, well, what are you waiting for? And on the topic of massive scale battles, I found a totally new indie game project which has 1-to-1 scale legendary historical battles of the Napoleonic era. Yes, you heard that right. An indie developer is making a tactical real-time strategy game titled Napoleon Rule of Iron, with a story-driven campaign across 33 battles from the Siege of Toulon in 1793 to Waterloo in 1815, with soldier counts through to real-world events. This means anything from 10,000 to 500,000 soldiers for you to control in range and melee combat, cavalry charges included on battlefields crafted from satellite data and historical records. What is interesting is that the developer is leaving room for alternate endings for his campaign, meaning 1 historical and 2 fictional ends to Napoleon's conquests. As for gameplay outside battles, you will be able to manage your army, buy supplies for them, recruit replacements, disband units if you have to, or attach cavalry and artillery units to them. Other elements this ambitious game will have are AI bots which don't cheat, effects of weather on weapons, terrain cover, permanent dead bodies, and unit stats like morale, stamina, unit weight, and speed. Another new game, but very different and focused on small-scale tactical engagements in space, is Fleetbreakers. Its ex-AAA game developers have published a demo of it on Steam. If you have already tried it out, do share your impressions in the comments below, while if you haven't, let me tell you more about it. This is a hybrid of sorts, as it has elements of classic strategy, fast-paced combat and roguelike mechanics. So in Fleetbreakers you have a mothership, which allows you to construct space stations and use different support abilities. You also build up a fleet of ships, which you can upgrade, group into squadrons, and there is a campaign with a story you go through in roguelike fashion, meaning starting over when you lose and having unique encounters and procedurally generated maps with their own challenges and rewards each time. These squadrons do have special stats and abilities for you to use in combat, but are usually limited in number of uses, and you also have to be careful not to fly into hazards on the map. I am very interested to see where this project goes from here and what is the reception from you, my fellow RTS fans. An unexpected development I want to tell you about is that the original creator of Blitzkrieg, the real-time tactics game based on the Second World War, has uploaded its source code on GitHub, meaning anyone can download and mess around with it, but do note it prohibits commercial use. This game was released back in 2003 and was made in a custom game engine. It is still available for purchase on Steam and GOG, so this release of the source code gives the community a chance to dig deep and create new content, mods and even full games with it, as long as these remain free. Now, one game that has started out with little content and even no AI bots, but which has managed to keep a dedicated community of PvP players, finally got these AI bots, and a lot more content to go along with them. I'm talking about Line War, of course, and I have made a dedicated video about its latest update, which I will link up here and down in the description if you haven't seen it before. In short, developers have added a new train and railroad system, allowing players to construct a railway transportation system across captured territory and use trains to move troops quickly from one part of the map to the other. Besides a transport train, you can now construct an artillery train which can bombard enemy positions from long range. What makes Line War feel very different to other RTS games you have played are its controls, which don't allow for micromanagement of individual units, but drawing orders for entire armies. With new content like this, customizable AI bots with a handicap system, and team matches of up to 8 players, I think more people will dare to try its gameplay, and I hope some of you do after this video. A far more classical RTS in development by a small indie team is Fractured Alliance, which I'm happy to report has been wishlisted over 33,000 times on Steam, meaning there are many of you who like what you see and want the game to be finished and playable. This one has both base building and unit recruitment with unique factions, and the theme is an alternate timeline in which the Cold War never ended. Fractured Alliance is designed to be simple to get into and be an easy gateway for new players of the genre who do not have any past experience with RTS gameplay. This is why developers are making one of the factions particularly good for beginners, as it allows them to focus on making broader strategic decisions, while unit control can be delegated to automated battle drones. When you decide you want more control, you just construct extra units and start commanding them in a more traditional RTS style. This project doesn't have backing from a publisher or big investors, so they do ask for help in any way you can give them, be that by wishlisting, following on Steam, or supporting development on their own Patreon page. I haven't mentioned Tempest Rising in my RTS news videos lately, and that is because I published so many dedicated videos about its gameplay and mechanics, which you can find on my playlist. But after launch, which was one of the top 12 Steam releases that month, players made lists of features that were obviously missing from the initial release, and some of these are quite important. Developers have acknowledged the necessity of these features and publicly stated they are working on them in the latest patch note announcement, meaning 2v2 ranked matches, queues with friends, custom options for maximum population, spectator mode, more maps and lobby chat will be part of the next major update. As for the multiplayer balancing patch, a number of bugged or clearly overpowered weapon systems on units were fixed, like the Dynasty's Flame units or GDF Sentinels marking rounds. Underperforming units gained slight buffs in weapon attack speed or health, while those which saw very little use were given several buffs like the Tempest Sphere or the Voltaic Tank, for example. GDF's unique intel resource mechanic was also tweaked to allow it to field more powerful units more regularly. I personally love and enjoy this game's multiplayer so much I have yet to finish its single-player campaigns. If you have, feel free to share your impressions of them and whether they earned the game its Command & Conquer successor mantle. Now, a new indie game which hasn't been released yet, but its demo and playtest are played regularly by many, is The Scouring, and its developers do balancing changes almost on a weekly basis. Besides balancing, like disallowing archer units from consuming health potions, new content has been added, specifically a hero gameplay mode. This one plays rather differently than the normal skirmish and multiplayer matches, as your units become followers of your hero and aren't controllable individually. The game's AI assistant takes over base building and unit recruitment for you in this game mode, an option you can turn on or off in the regular game modes. Going even further, developers have added a mobile-like scenario called Orcs vs Humans, in which you play as a single hero, have one line of combat, and must destroy all enemy buildings to win. Another new game mode is Besieged, designed as a wave survival in which hordes of orcs attack you. 2 new maps were also added, one for 2 players and another for 8 players. I think that everyone playing the next demo, planned for Steam's Next Fest from June 9th to the 16th, will find the game in a much more advanced state than they left it last time, especially as developers are working on new units, maps and a mode manager with Steam Workshop integration. Another new release we have to look forward to in an early access version is Wartorn, launching on the 17th of June on Steam and Epic. I showcased this game and its demo once before in my RTS News videos, but now there is more info on its release version and its content. First of all, Wartorn will feature a home base called the Villa Hub. It is a place to upgrade your squads, change their weapons or passive abilities. Wartorn will also have a roguelike progression system through which you will unlock heirlooms, trinkets and gain new abilities for your heroes. Since the playable demo was released, developers have added more unit variety to the core combat experience, expanded the narrative with dialogue choices and decisions, and created an overworld map with branching paths and unexpected outcomes. It might not have base building of any kind, but its tactical combat full of powerful combos to discover felt fun to me. And the game I always have fun playing is Godsworn, so every time I make an update video on it, I end up playing it for far longer than I even needed to for gathering footage about its latest content and patches.
You shall be driven out of this land.
The indie devs of this amazing fantasy base-building RTS have added a new map with a winter theme and special celestial ore, and it features neutral enemies who guard both resource points and hold captive additional workers. Both the campaign and unit balancing has been improved, while the tribesman unit in particular got an overhaul and a new weapon. Other units developers are working on are the Squire, a tier 1 cavalry unit wielding a crossbow when mounted and a sword and shield when unmounted. The Squire can be upgraded with support abilities that boost the knights. The Longbowman unit will be a replacement for the Marksman when a new Order hero is added to the game. Godsworn has been in early access for over a year now, and since then received a lot of content updates, so I hope you will jump in again and enjoy it as much as I have. Now, I have already shown you several new RTS games whose developers want to recreate the gameplay of Majesty, but now I have found one more. It is titled Crownbound, and it already has a demo available on Steam for you to try it out. There is even a release date there, with an optimistic last quarter of 2025, but I'm personally not that optimistic. As with other similar games, you are the ruler of a land besieged by monsters, and you have to recruit heroes to fight them, set rewards to guide their actions, all the while building a kingdom capable of supporting them with gold, spells and items. Since you don't have manual control over your heroes/units, bounties and rewards must motivate them to do your bidding, which they still might ignore ignore, as they have their own personal goals, fears and ambitions. If you played the demo, do let me know how you like it in the comments below. I am happy to report that beyond all reason, the now much more well-known indie grand scale RTS has been given a visual overhaul with the update called Lightbringer. This means the game just got a bunch of light-based improvements in one major patch. There is dynamic lighting, a new screen space shadow casting system, distortion-based shockwave effects, new shaders and more, all at very low cost to performance. Do note that the night mode and day-night cycles will be released as part 2 of the visual update at a later date. Devs have added over 3,000 individual lights across nearly 400 units with pinpoint lights, cone lights and beam lights, and it is absolutely worth it. These lights are also connected directly with gameplay elements, so for example, nuclear silos light up during launch sequences now. As an added bonus, this update brings an improvement to the game's main GUI elements, including the build menu, info panel and all the other panels across the screen. These now run at least twice as fast on the CPU, with GPU rendering time improved by 40% at minimum. If your potato used to be able to run bar, your potato peels can now run it too, and it will look even better than before. Another indie game in development that I keep a close eye on and get regular footage and updates straight from its solo indie dev is Fungal Front, and I'm happy to announce that a multiplayer demo will be released during Steam's Next Fest in October. These clips show us the latest gameplay developments and new content that has been made for the game. I told you before that this one is about humans going to new planets and running into sentient fungi, which resist them and put up a tough fight. This game will have both base building and unit combat, including air units, and developers have undertaken a big task to rewrite their game using a deterministic engine to make sure that both co-op and competitive multiplayer works seamlessly even through lag spikes. The air units use physics-based movement, and you can see massive numbers of them flying around the map in this clip. There is obviously a lot of work ahead of this game, especially as it will feature a story-driven campaign. One ambitious indie game which I showed you in a dedicated video some time ago is Coloniser, and now I have both new footage of its updated gameplay and a chance to tell you about its new playtest on Steam. Developers want you to try out their playtest and give them feedback on the updated models and textures for buildings, a whole new system for farming, improved projectiles and splash damage of siege weapons like the catapults. They have also made a totally new animation system with the aim for combat to look more natural, balanced and changed unit stats, and added chat. There are more such additions and updates in the works, and if you want to learn more about this game and developers' plan for it, do check out my full video on it linked up here and down in the description. To end this video, I am going to pull out another very old game which is available for play in a new way. Much like the Red Alert 2 version I showcased at the start of this video, Dark Reign is now available for play in a similar manner thanks to the efforts of a dedicated individual. Its gameplay is similar to C&C Games up to a point, but it has its own unique aspects like stealing technology from other players and giving orders to units to automate them for search and destroy, harass or scout commands. If you use the link I have provided in the description below, you can start up this amazing old gem in your browser in seconds and experience both its great gameplay and outdated graphics. If you do so at your work or school, I take no responsibility for any consequences. As I seem to always have far more RTS news and updates for you than I can fit into a single video, expect another such video on my channel very soon. And while you wait for that one, check out some other games I have covered in dedicated videos already by using the cards on the screen or links in the description. Thank you for watching and happy gaming!